Hey guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I am Mike. Why did I point to myself? Like, I am Mike. You Bob. Me Mike. And this is a Pet Sematary first time watch review. Jay's coming over tonight. We're filming some stuff and we're going to film a Pet Sematary's Bloodlines review, which will be up tomorrow. I'll save that for tomorrow. I'm sorry if I sound like a Waffle House waitress who chain smokes. And nothing against Waffle House waitresses. I'm thinking of a specific one from like when I was younger and me and my friends would be there at 3 a.m. Like the Sloppy Joe lady that'd be like, "You kids ever taken pills and ridden roller coasters before?" I got some shit going on in my chesticles. So I was going to actually film some Michael Myers stuff, but just the thought of wrapping rubber around my super fucked up congested face was just too exciting for me to handle. So look forward to that. That's just going to be coming a little bit later than it would have been either way. Pet Sematary 2, first time watch. Jay always talked about how awful this movie was. And for some reason, I've never watched it before. I always thought the cover looked kind of cool. I'm like, 90s Edward Furlong. This could be a banger. It's directed by Mary Lambert, who directed the first movie as well as Urban Legends 3, Bloody Mary, which was... I'll put the review for that at the end of this. I can't believe it's the same director. I can't. And you can file Pet Sematary 2. There will be spoilers in this, by the way. You can file Pet Sematary 2 under campy movies that followed really serious movies that were probably misunderstood and probably maybe should have gotten a more serious effort, but were still fun nonetheless. Just like Pumpkinhead 2 Blood Wings. Like, I just did an article on that for Bloody Disgusting. I like that fucking movie. I think it's fun. But when you follow up a serious classic horror movie with some silly shit, it's no question why people get so upset. And I feel like that's what happens with this movie. It felt like the first half of the movie with like the sadness of the mom dying right in front of the kid, which was kind of messed up that Edward Furlong's there to see his actress mom who's super famous and she dies being electrocuted right in front of him in this like Jim Carrey like electrocution scene. Like, I think that's a big fear for kids. Like, I used to have this recurring dream where I was always leave out my Ninja Turtle van and get in trouble for it in the driveway. So I'd have this recurring dream where my parents would be coming home from dinner and they, even though they were going like 4 miles an hour backing into the car, I would see it and like they would hit the Ninja Turtle van and the car would flip over and they would die and I'd be screaming just like Edward Furlong in this scene. Just reminded me of that. I don't know why I just told that whole story. I just needed to share it with you. This is therapy for me, learning lots about each other. Do you guys want to see my dick? Your therapist is weird, man. But the first half of the movie feels like it's a lesser than attempt to keep up what the original movie was doing. And like there's some shots, it's like some dogs or like cats jumping like jump scares, and you're like, that looks awful. Some dumb character decisions, some really bad acting going on, and the movie's still up to this point sort of trying to take itself seriously, and you're looking at it with a questionable eye. But the second that the Clancy Brown character, that Clancy Brown's Gus, comes back from the dead and is unburied, the whole fucking movie changes and it becomes, in my opinion, a campy horror classic that is a fucking blasty blast. So when I put up a picture of this on Twitter, it was met with like two different reactions. It's one side of people who are like, fuck that movie, that's the worst movie ever, and another side of people are like, best goddamn Pet Sematary movie, I don't care who knows it. And I think both sides are kind of right. I think if you're looking for a serious follow-up to Pet Sematary, one that like keeps that, because that movie is just so fucking sad, and it does get zany with all the wild shit that happens, you know, with Gage like, I want to play with you and all that shit, and fucking Zelda running around. But for the most part, it's about grief and all this gnarly stuff going on. And this movie's supposed to be too, but it's kind of kept the emotion at arm's length. It kind of stiff-armed that bitch like Derrick Henry in lieu of some just fun, wild gore. The movie is mean though, and I do want to say I'm stealing this from somebody on Twitter because they said it perfectly. I can't remember who said it, but I don't want to take credit for their words either way. They said that this movie has absolutely no morality, and I would totally agree with that. Things it does are just so fucked up and mean. It's surprisingly mean, which turns it into a dark comedy, a black comedy. Just the nasty shit that happens in this movie. I mean, there are kittens ripped to bits, and I'm not saying like I love fucking seeing kittens ripped apart in movies. Woo, Slayer! I'm not saying that. But the fact that they'll do it is just kind of like makes this movie its own thing. You know, it wasn't afraid to go there, even though it's being silly, being funny, dealing with grief. It'll also just like, hey, we're going to massacre some fucking kittens because this is a horror movie in the 90s and Scream hasn't even come out yet. And it's the wild goddamn West. And I appreciate that. It feels sort of like a Tales from the Crypt episode that really goes there. I mean, when I say it goes there, I mean, it's like kind of what this, I'm not saying that The Exorcist Believer should have had dead kittens in it. I'm just saying it should have had the feeling that they had the ball sack to do crazy stuff with it, and he never got that feeling. It's a very weird comparison. Don't take my word seriously. It's just on my mind, I guess. But I do think that Gus and Clancy Brown's character saves this movie. It is over the top when he's sitting there just slopping fucking mashed potatoes in his mouth and letting them fall out. Like, it's over the top and dumb, but it's also fun as shit. And I just think it saved the movie, turned it into a completely different thing. And he was actually really good, though. Yeah, he did kind of have that, like, sugar water thing going on from Men in Black, but it was fun to watch. Fuck, he was good, man. I absolutely love that performance. It's just the standout all-timer horror performance for me. Awesome job. I love that kind of shit. The other performances, not so much. There was fucking Goose is in this movie, and he's awesome. He's like the sweetest dad ever. I don't know what it is about. I want that guy to be my stepdad, which is not something people say a lot about other men. But he's just walking through there with his turtleneck. It's like, make me some hot cocoa and help me with my homework, Goose. Edward Furlong was not great in this movie, and I know like people love Edward Furlong, and it's a blast from the past, and he does still have his like little attitude that he had in T2. Like, he has the perfect look and like movements and like all that to like really capture that angsty fucking 90s metal arcade type teen, and he was great for that in this movie that, by the way, has an amazing soundtrack. I love the soundtrack to this. Sometimes the songs are terrible and they don't fit, but it's sort of like a Scream 2, Scream 3 thing. Like, you love them anyways, even the songs that are bad, just because they're in these scenes of the movie, and it's kind of fun. The Ramones are on there. There's just this soundtrack has its own fucking vibe to it, and I absolutely love it. And they play it, tons of it through the movie. There's just music playing constantly. It's like a music video. It's badass. I love it. What the fuck were we talking about? Shit fuck. When he's doing that one thing, he's great at it. But there's other points, like when the dad hires this weirdly attractive, like, assistant who looks weirdly just like their mom who just died, which is a fucked up move on the dad's part. But anyways, when she shows up and she's like going through the mom's stuff, he's like, it's the weirdest, like, jankiest camera edit, and there's tons of that in this movie that make it feel strange. You almost wonder if halfway through they're like, fuck it, let's go full camp. We're not doing great. But he like grabs her by the shoulder. It's like, hey, don't touch her stuff, okay? And you're like, whoa, this is awkward. And then at the end, what the fuck was the deal with Edward Furlong at the end of this movie when all of a sudden, for no reason at all, he's just upstairs wearing a suit, he's decided that he is just gonna go rogue with the script and be like, I'm so creepy in a horror movie. And like, none of the shit he's doing makes sense for his character. None of it. All of a sudden, his friend dies, and now he's decided to go full fucking, where are you? And is just sitting up there being emo as fuck and like smiling creepy at the camera. And it's just really cheesy, awkward performance that makes no sense for the character. I don't know what the fuck was going on there. His friend Drew is just like, you feel terrible for the kid because he has the world's worst stepdad. You know, Gus, before he comes back from the dead, was such a prick, banging his mom loud upstairs, calling him fat, taking food off of his plate, killing his dog. An absolute nightmare of a stepdad. And you feel bad for the kid too, but he's just kind of got this like heavyweights attitude, like, I guess I'll eat a Snickers bar. And then the bad guy kid, the bully kid, it's a mixed bag with that dude. He looks just like Jesse Lacey from Brand New. I mean, it looks just fucking like him. It's fucking weird. The devil and God are literally raging inside of me, which I know what happened there. Don't come at me. God damn it. That was a great band once. But why are these, it's one of the things that doesn't make sense about the movie. Why are these kids all so fucking mad that this kid's mom died? He shows up and they're like, you and your dead fucking mom. And it's like, why are you so mad about it? Like, kids were mean. Don't get me wrong. I used to get my ass kicked in middle school regularly. Kids in this day and age were fucking mean as shit. But I don't recall anyone ever being like, hey, Joe's mom died. Let's go fucking give him a wet willy. The kid does get a cool death scene, though, when Gus takes that. It's hilarious when he's taking his face, just trying to scare him with the wheel of that motorbike. But then when the devil and God are raging inside me, scarf gets caught up in it, and he accidentally taps his face. He goes, oh, well, fuck it, and just finishes it. That was gnarly and awesome. The gore looks amazing in this movie. So many practical effects that are going on. The same kid at the end when he gets electrocuted, like Batman Returns or John Strode style, and his head blows off and then he just lands, and the way all that sploot looks inside of his head. I love the practical effects and the gore of this movie. And when that one girl gets her eye ripped off by the glass, that was disgusting looking. That one scene where Gus, zombie Gus, is cutting open that rabbit, and you just see the whole thing. You're like, I don't need to fucking see it, Greg. Just a mean ass movie with great gore, just weird performances and strange characters, but sometimes they work out, and there's always a badass soundtrack going on. Even if the songs suck, it's just like, this is, you're going for it, and I'm having a rock and roll blasty blast in the pants. It's grunge, you know? It's a grunge thing. And then the weird sex stuff that goes on in this movie too. You know they were going full camp when Goose is having the sex dream, and all of a sudden she's like, check out these tits, and like the camera is just full of gigantic dead mom boobies. But then he pans away and it's a dog. It's like a half dog, half woman, but he doesn't stop fucking it. He's like, I can't stop once I start, Harry. It stings. The dog was so fucking awesome in this. Like, that dog actor kicked ass this entire movie. It was super cool. One other thing that doesn't make sense though, what is wrong with people in these movies? How do they never like think twice before you're touching my girl? Come around and lay you feel the burn. How do people never think twice when people come back like, hey, Gus is acting like he's on fucking Circle K, or what was that shit called? Circle X? K? Special K. Gus is acting like he's on Special K. Someone should check on him. Someone's got to kill the babysitter. But the dog comes back and he's got bright red glowing cyclops fucking eyes, and he's still got a gaping hole in him, just walking around growling at shit, and nobody even second guesses it or goes, why are the dog's eyes fucking glowing? Not a mention about it. Nary a one. Gus comes back and she's like, sorry about all that Halloween shit, honey. Do you want to come over and beat the shit out of me in front of our son again? And he's like, no, I'm just going to sexually assault you here. And she's screaming, and I guess nobody in the house hears it. That shit was weird. But hey, even though I heard my stepdad absolutely doing that to my mom upstairs, he's making funny faces with mashed potatoes now, so he's our best friend. Shit fuck tons of stuff in this movie that just absolutely make no narrative sense. And the biggest, dumbest fucking plot hole in the movie could have been the point where they decided to go, hey, let's turn up the fucking metal music and let's just turn this into a party, because this shit's not working. Could be the scene where the dad shows up at the Halloween party or whatever. Some nice Halloween atmosphere in that scene, by the way, some pumpkins and shit like that. But when Gus shows up to beat the shit out of the kid, and the dog pops out because the dog is a good dog all of a sudden, because like there's no rules about what happens. Sometimes the people who come out of Pet Sematary are nice for a little while before they go full on fucking Ezra Miller on your ass. I don't know the rules. But either way, the dog protects the kid, rips his jugular out in another gnarly looking scene, and Gus is dead. And these two kids go, we didn't do anything fucking wrong. He's out of our lives, scot fucking free. Let's just walk away from this. Instead, they go, we should bury him in Pet Sematary so he could come back and zombie beat the shit out of us. It makes no fucking sense. It's one of the dumbest decisions I've ever seen made in a horror movie ever. And it's definitely where the movie jumped the shark, but it ended up being for the better. Maybe it's a happy accident. I don't know. All I know is the movie got fun as shit after this dumbass scene. Oh, and one more weird fucking sex thing that happens. What's up with the scene where Gus is just sitting there watching the rabbits fucking smiling while he just like angrily pets a goddamn rabbit right next to his crotch? What the fuck was that? I love it. It's so stupid and strange and weird that it just makes the movie. Moments like that did. And other wild moments like the fucking shoulder drill into the open wound. Ha! And the end of the movie goes just full on. It's kind of dumb. Like it kind of like it ends at the perfect time, because the ending of the movie is just so just like Royal Rumble dumb as shit. They're up in the basement. They're up in the attic. Everything's on goddamn fire. The one kid comes back from the zombie dead. It's so weird that Edward Furlong's character was working with Gus for some reason. I think Gus was like, hey, dig up your mom, because I want to fuck her. By the way, that was another theme that kept going throughout the entire movie. The second that they're at the mom's funeral, he shows up. He's like, hey, man, I used to fuck your dead wife. As soon as he sees the kid in the vet's office, he's like, hey, kid, you know I used to fuck your dead mom. And then later on, from the afterlife, he's like, hey, kid, dig her up. So, well, you know at this point. I guess that was his plan, but the mom comes back and she's in pristine shape. They're up there. All that shit's going on. The tag team Royal Rumble's happening. And it's dumb as shit, but at this point you're just laughing. It's a very Halloween Resurrection ending, weirdly, with the fire and the electricity. But I absolutely love the scene. To me, this was weirdly scary. Like, even though you're watching something that's not narratively scary or palpably scary or whatever, it's just freaky for the sake of being fucking freaky, because this is, again, 93 pre-Scream. It was just like, let's just do crazy 90s horror shit. Woo! You're the coolest guy at shenanigans. But just being weird for the sake of being weird, when she's standing behind him and she's like, Dad is better! I am trying to work things out! come live with, and like her face was melting whilst that voice is going on. That's the fucking voice they should have used in The Exorcist, not that just generic shit. And wow, those awesome effects of her face melting, just fun. Like, it's just, the whole thing's just fun, man. Like, as a movie, it's not great as a narrative fucking, you know, put together movie, well-oiled machine. But as a horror movie that just sticks a couple fingers in all the horror tropes and has fun with it, yeah, it's fucking awesome. I love it for that. I give Pet Sematary 2 at the end of the day a 7 out of 10. I had a blast with it. I don't know how you compare it with the original movie. Like, it just depends on your fucking mood, I guess. I mean, if I had to kill one of them, I guess I would probably keep the original just because its place and, you know, it was actually written by Stephen King and how heavy all that shit is. But I'm definitely popping this one in to have a good time. And what is up with the weird ass ending when they're driving away and these little fucking circle pillows are jumping up with people's like faces? Like, this movie's so fucking weird, man. But I am losing my voice and we have a lot to film tonight, so I'm gonna get the fuck out of here, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. And what's your favorite just silly campy horror sequel? Like, I find it fascinating, movies that sequels to super serious scary movies that just went batshit and had fun with it, like this and Pumpkinhead 2. What are some other examples of that? Comment down below, let me know. I love your fucking faces. I hope you guys have an amazing day.
Here comes that white-faced fucker, an asshole like no other. He's a big old piece of shit. Wants to stab your sister's tits cause he's a white-faced fucker. Loomis can't recover. Dr. Challenge drunk again, sleeping with your sister's friends.
Do you want to know about the darkness?
I said, God damn. God damn you, faggot!
Halloween never ends, suck my fucking dick, and I don't really care what Blumhouse fucking says. Put him in a box, or suck a fucking cock. You can say he's dead, but we all know he's not, yeah. So let's go trick-or-treating, let's go fucking drinking, let's all go rent Pumpkinhead on VHS.